All right, so we went over the different components of the crosswind headwind component chart. So now we're just going to go over some of the FAA questions using the FAA chart from your chart supplement book or the test supplement book. There's an example there, as you can see, but we're going to go over. There are at least four questions that you may get, and they can vary. The numbers can vary slightly, but we're just going to go over the different ways they ask the questions. So the first one is if the wind is out of the south. They do that. They're expecting you to know that south is 180. And like I said, these numbers can change a little bit. May not be exact. These numbers, there's no database that these questions are coming from that we can see. This just kind of word of mouth type thing. So winds are out of the south, 20 knots. Which is the most favorable runway? Is it runway 10, runway 14, or runway 24? So right off the bat, what I do with this question is I just write out 100, 140, and 240. Okay? And we know the wind's coming out of the south. So right away, I'll subtract 100 from 180, and I can do that in my head. I know that's 80 degrees. So that's a direct crosswind. All right? That's almost a direct crosswind. 90 degrees is right direct. 80 degrees is just, right there as well. The next one is 140 degrees. All right? The wind's out of the south, so I'm going to subtract 140 from 180. And so the difference of that is 40 degrees. All right? That's not bad. That's a quartering headwind. Now, 240 degrees. Now we're just getting the difference, so it doesn't really matter. Just either subtract 180 from the number, or subtract the runway heading, or subtract the wind from the runway heading. It doesn't matter as long as you get like a positive number. So I'm gonna subtract 180 from 240 this time, and I'm going to see that that's 60 degrees, okay? So right off the bat, without even using the graph, the 180 looks like it's the most favorable, right? Because it has the least degree angle, all right? Is the least crosswind degree angle. So right then and there, I'm just, you can go through all of these questions and see, but let's do the math, okay? So all right, let's start with 80 degrees. All right, 80 degrees. Here's our 80 degree line. All right, let's just go ahead and put all just for time's sake, 80, 40, and 60. All right, we're going to start off with the 80. So the 80, all right, now we're going to find 20 knots. So now I'm going to use a smaller fine tip pen here, 20 knots. Okay. And here, just by doing them all three at the same time, I can see that at 40 degrees, and our max crosswind is 13. So I'm just going to go, I'm going to zoom in here. 1, 2, 3. And you can see right there that the crosswind component for 40 degrees at 20 knots is right on the line. I mean, it's barely there. You can see 60 degrees, 20 knots at 60 isn't going to work. I mean, your crosswind component for 60 at 20 knots is it's going to be like 17, and then over here, if it's a direct crosswind, it's almost going to be equal to the wind speed, so it's like 19. So, but right off the bat, just all you got to do is subtract the difference of get the difference between the relative angle between the wind and the runway, and select whichever one is least for this question. Okay. Now, next question: max wind velocity for a 30-degree crosswind if max crosswind is 12 knots. So I'm gonna erase this stuff real quick. All right, we know that our degree angle is 30. They already kind of had that marked. And max crosswind is 12 knots. Here's 11, 12. All right, there's 12. All right. So what is the max wind velocity? So now where these two lines intersect, which is right there, I'm just going to follow the curve. Doesn't matter if you go down or up here, but this is the shorter, so I'm going to go with the shorter direction. And it looks like in between 23 and 24. So I'm going to select the closest answer to that. Okay. Some people's eyes may be a little off. Mine is maybe not quite curved perfectly, so I would almost do 24 for that one. Okay. So just remember, don't go straight across. Straight across is going to give you your headwind component. If you do this, that's your headwind component. They're asking for a max wind velocity, so be sure you read the question very carefully. Okay, and follow the curve when they're asking for max wind. All right. Now, so wind velocity, so then max headwind or max crosswind. All right, they're both pretty much found identically. This will be the last question, and we'll be finishing up with this video. So we're landing on runway 18, and the ASOS or tower or whoever reports the wind at 220 at 30 knots. 220 minus the runway heading, 180, that's 40 degrees. Okay, so we're just going to highlight the whole thing. Don't worry about it, or pencil it out, whatever if you're using the clear plastic cover, or if it's your own book for practicing, use a pencil, use a straight edge, whatever. 40 degrees. Now, 30 knots. So remember, we're going to find 30 knots, which is it's the hard line, all right? Here we go. They're keeping it simple for you. So right there. All right. So now they're asking for headwind. The question will either ask for headwind or crosswind, but you're going to do the same thing. Okay. It's the same exact numbers as far as the wind direction and angle, or the angle and the wind speed. So either you're going up or down. So just if they're asking for the crosswind component, you're going to go straight down. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 4 maybe. So it looks like there's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So a 19 not crosswind component. All right. If they're asking for your headwind component, you're going to go straight across. You can also just measure up. I can kind of cheat a little bit and do 1, 2, 3, 4, and add that to over here in the 20. So the headwind component is about 24 knots. And that should get you the correct answer for any of the questions they may ask as far as component. Just do your math, take your time.